important, going 10-1 in their first 11 games. Jalen Hurts ranked 6th in the league in total QBR, but then it all fell apart. Hurts and the Eagles went 1-5 in their final 6 regular season games, lost the division, and then lost to the Bucs 32-9 in the wild card round in Tampa. Philly will be the first team to face Green Bay's new defensive coordinator Jeff Hafley, and head coach Nick Sirianni spoke about that challenge moments ago.
You have to try to dig as much as you possibly can. Also knowing that week 1, there's a lot of unknowns that are going to happen throughout the league, right? Even with people with defensive coordinators that have been there for the year. We'll have to be ready for anything, but without giving up secrets of what we've done, we've looked at a bunch of stuff as well. But also knowing that everything's alive.
Yeah. By the way, Hawk's with us now. Thank you for joining us, Hawk. Hey, Hawk, good to see you.
Best skin routine in television.
Nice, I know. He's just, yeah. I need Hawk's skin. All right. There isn't any tape, Dan, that's true, of Hafley as a defensive coordinator in the NFL in the regular season. But what do you expect to see from Green Bay on Friday?
Pressure. And Jeff Hafley's DNA, kind of where he's cut his teeth. It was in San Francisco. It was in Houston. It was at Ohio State. Obviously, Boston College. I mean, he wants to play man coverage, and he wants to blitz you. And that's kind of contrary to what Green Bay has been defensively. Many of us have complained about that. And so this bodes well for Green Bay because Philadelphia, the number one thing that was the issue last year, specific to their pass game, was they could not handle pressure. All-out pressure, man pressure, fire zone pressure, any form of pressure that forced that offense to have a plan and then execute against what they were going to do versus blitzes they struggled with. So I think Hafley, for me, this is a big foreshadowing game for Philly and for Jalen Hurts. And I'm not saying it has to be perfect, but I do think they got to answer, and Jalen specifically has to answer, I understand we weren't good at this. I wasn't good at this. I fixed it, and at least having signs that there's growth in that specific area. They will get to show that Friday night.
Yeah, I mean, Hawk, Friday is the first time we get to see Jalen Hurts with Kellen Moore as the offensive coordinator. How can Kellen Moore get the most out of Hurts in this offense?
Consistency in his game plan. Like, everything Dan talked about is exactly spot on. And for Jalen Hurts or any player, you go into a game and your apprehension or nerves come in not being prepared. They didn't feel confident that they had a game plan last year that had the answers to the test when people sent pressure. So for Kellen Moore, those are some of the questions that I have around him. What is his consistency like in his game plan and his strategy that helps fill in the gaps for Jalen Hurts in this offense? We know that you can dial up plays for the most talented offense in the NFL, which is what the Eagles are. They have no deficiencies at any position. But with your game plan and your consistency in the run game, can you hold on to games late in there? And then as you go out there, does it feel like you're executing a game plan rather than just calling plays like Dan and I talked about ad nauseum a year ago?
Y'all, we don't have 10 minutes, but what Dan and Hawk just said, it's what I was thinking about with the Philadelphia Eagles. And when we sat here 2 years ago and talked about them on their way to the Super Bowl, the thing that they did, Dan, remember, is they dictated how defenses would play them.
Always.
I want to see that come back.
Yeah.
I want to see the RPO, Jalen being a threat with his legs, not meaning he has to be a runner. But we talked about, I start thinking about the playoff game against San Francisco or one of the regular season games when it was the first time we saw Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw play slow football and not be able to impact the game with their speed like they were able to do. I'm hoping that Kellen Moore understands now having Jalen and Saquon Barkley in the backfield, you can dictate a lot about how defenses are going to attack you and get back to kind of being able to use all of the things that he has at his disposal.
Okay. I think that's the end of the clip. I think that's a great point. And I agree with everything that was said, except for a little bit of what Orlovsky kind of said, where he said, oh, this bodes well for them because of the blitzing for the Packers. And it's like, to think that Jalen Hurts, if you think that bodes well for them, then that means that you think that Jalen Hurts has a fundamental issue with blitzes. And I don't believe that to be the case. He had no answers because the offense as a whole, as well as the coordinating, did not have any answers for Jalen. Not to mention, as Jalen kind of talked about, they told him not to worry about these things. They kind of treated him as kind of a plug and play type of quarterback for that most part. So they did not set him up to succeed. They did not put him in a position to succeed. And that's why he was getting frustrated. He actually reportedly was really frustrated and was trying to seek answers. And that was part of the issues that he had with Sirianni, because he's like, I'm not getting the answers right now. I'm not getting the solution. You're trotting me out there. They're blitzing and I have nowhere to go with the ball. Nowhere to go, nothing to do. What am I supposed to do in this situation? And you could see it. You could absolutely see it. And that's why, I forget who said it now, but he was saying, like, you know, they didn't have a game plan. They were just calling plays. And that's exactly what I said. I compared it to Madden, where it was just like, you know, like when you're playing like, the video game, like you're just like calling hike and you're just like, X, square. Like you're just like making stuff up. There was no actual approach. And that was a fundamental issue for the Eagles. And I don't think that blitzing for Jalen Hurts is a fundamental issue. It's not his kryptonite where it's like, oh, as long as they attack him with pressure, he's done. Like, I reject that wholeheartedly. There's no evidence to believe that at all. So if you don't think that Kellen Moore and that offense has been working on that, and Jalen Hurts was like, set me up for success in this way, like he didn't, focus all on that offseason and preseason, I mean, of course he does. Jalen Hurts wants to be great. The Philadelphia Eagles have high Super Bowl expectations. That's why they made the moves that they made. That's why they're stacking this offense with extra pieces like Dotson and Saquon. Because they're going to be like, go ahead, bring the pressure. Jalen Hurts is going to be able to pick wherever he wants to go. And we got Kellen Moore now, who's going to be able to actually put him in a position to succeed. And therefore, they will be able to dictate more how the defense is played. And again, to me, I think that's another great point, because that's also when he pointed out the Eagles versus the 49ers, again, that was Shane Steichen's game plan. That is Shane Steichen's plan of attack. They never were able to do that last year. Kellen Moore will be able to do that. Maybe not at the level of a Shane Steichen, but that's okay. Because quite frankly, this offense right now is way better. More pieces or more experienced pieces than what the Eagles had in 22. So you don't need to maybe have as an elite offensive coordinator as a Shane Steichen was to get the most out of the Eagles. Jalen Hurts should be a better quarterback. A.J. Brown, a better wide receiver. Devontae, better receiver. Goddard, better receiver. Saquon, better running back. Dotson, better, wide receiver 3. Who knows where he floats around. So there's going to be better pieces there. And I'm only focusing on the offense here because that's all this tape was, because there's no point in jumping into the defense at this rate. But I do think this game will be really interesting to see. And I think, right, if the Eagles continue to have problems with the pressure and Jalen Hurts, then yeah, that will not bode well for the Eagles. That will not bode well for Jalen Hurts. Then that narrative will start to be like, Jalen Hurts can't handle the pressure. That's how you beat him. Just blitz all day, every day. Then that would, expose them. But I'm really excited to see what Jalen Hurts can do versus the blitz and the Eagles as a whole. Because I really think once he lets everyone know, of course I can beat the blitz. I'm a top quarterback in the NFL. What do you think? You think I can't beat something as fundamental as a blitz? Like, do you think this is Pee Wee football here? Like, what are you guys talking about? You think I'm not an actual good quarterback? That I just got lucky? Go ahead. I'm going to expose you now. And now your defense is going to be nervous. Because this whole time you thought, oh, as long as we blitz him, we're good. Go ahead. Once he proves that he has solved that issue, man, you better be on the lookout. You better be on the lookout. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think? Do you think that Jalen Hurts will be able to prove, and the Eagles as a whole will be able to prove, that they will be able to beat the blitz? That's not going to be their Achilles heel or Jalen Hurts' kryptonite. Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.